show, The Outlander, where I answer your emails, take your calls, and interview some extremely intriguing guests. Just go to InceptionRadioNetwork.com and interact and listen live to The Outlander Show at IRNChat.com. Blasting off with some UFO reports. Winnipeg, Manitoba. Ooh, it's a UFO blast from the past. Oh, those are some of the more interesting ones sometimes, aren't they? This occurred May 20th, 2013. Orbs witnessed off in the distance. In more detail, the witness states, working one night, I was contacted by a crew member of my team who had seen something and was excited to tell me about it. We had been talking previously about a few meteorites I had seen in the early morning about a week apart from each other. Okay. By her account, as I was not the one who witnessed the event, she told me about how she and her partner had seen some glowing orbs in the sky west of their location. All she said was that were 3 or more lights that were floating around in the sky, all at different heights. They didn't move very fast. 2 of the lower ones were moving to the south and downwards, while the highest one more or less just stood there. Well, that sounds lazy. She said it only lasted for about 3 to 5 minutes, and then they faded out. There's not really anything more to it. There is a photo taken by her cell phone included in this report. There was video, but unfortunately it can't be found. The photo is not great, as it is still a little grainy and at night, but shows a house, trees and clouds, and what looks like a moon. But it is just flare from the streetlight. The objects stick out really well. Great. Just ripped it down. All right, the next UFO report sighting occurred in McKeesport, Pennsylvania. Wow, big time blast from the past here as far as UFOs go. This happened July 15th, 1970. My brother and I were playing in the street, and he suddenly told me to look in the sky at the UFO. I looked and saw the UFO. In more detail, the witness states, the above info is in regard to the first alleged UFO my brother and I saw as children. It was summer, and my brother and I were playing at dusk when my brother told me to look in the sky at the UFO. I looked up and saw a silver disc descend. Ascend the zoom away. I am not kidding, is what it says. My brother and I were very excited. We told this to everyone we knew. No one knew what to do, and most people didn't believe us. My brother and I were telling the truth about what we saw, and it looked like what we saw identified on TV as UFOs. I was fortunate enough to have a neighbor who took this seriously and told my family and I about her own experiences, expertise, and knowledge about what my brother and I initially reported. This neighbor told us there was a radio station that would talk about this because there were a lot of people reporting many unexplained and unknown UFO and other events, experiences, and sightings like we did. Since we were children regarding this initial event, I believe that is why no one we knew ever pursued this on our behalf. Prior to this first incident and throughout the duration of my life from childhood to present, many unexplained and unknown events, experiences, and sightings first occurred in this area, which may all be related or separate. This initial area was once the home of 3 American Indian tribes. There is sacred land and Indian artifacts everywhere. Over the years, the pattern is that I have had many other unresolved experiences, events, sightings with unexplained and unknown in many areas I lived, like California, New York, Pennsylvania, and England. Well, you're just a magnet. Every area I lived where this happened, I contacted a variety of experts who all had differing opinions, that all I got out of it was confusion, frustration, temporarily giving up, more fear, isolation, and to date this continues and remains unresolved. To date, I remain very scared and can't be alone in the dark. My own research, past and present, showed that in all the areas this occurred were areas that had others having the same and similar experiences and not being able to resolve them. I have my own crossover theory about this and need to speak with credible experts in this field to see if they are related. No one I researched has explored what I think might be a crossover discovery into more than just UFOs. Note: I will only share this with credible experts who can show their credentials like MUFON. Please help me solve this. Well, what other things are going on? I mean, I don't know. Credible credentials. I could write a piece of paper out and say I'm cool, and yeah. But anyways, I would say that some people are more gifted in being able to see and experience things. But you said wherever you go, you're experiencing these things. So I would say that you just happen to have that kind of luck, and I think you can see things. So clearer than others. Like it just happens. Like myself, it happens. We can't always get every answer that we want, right? If we could, and if anybody tells you they have all the answers, run. Just run. All right, the next UFO sighting. This occurred in Orlando, Florida. This is another blast from the past. My goodness, I am loaded with them today. July 4th, 2011. Went back into my backyard at 8:54, seen red and orange orb floating, then it appeared 20 minutes later. In more detail, the witness states, I had just put my 8-month-old daughter to bed at 8:45 p.m. For some reason, I was compelled to go onto my back porch. Uh-oh, I feel an abduction coming. I had not been back there in 2 months. Huh? When I went outside in just my socks, within a few seconds, I noticed this red-orange orb floating about 200 to 300 feet up and started to run into the house behind my house's yard, into the street behind my house. When I watched it for about 10 seconds and remembered my kid and not having any shoes on. I said, okay, time to go back. The fireworks were about to start at 9 p.m. in my front yard, watching from the resort that is visible from my front yard. So, not thinking anything about the red orb, the fireworks started at 9 p.m., and about 16 minutes into the fireworks, the red orb came and appeared out of nowhere and curved and started going the exact same path it just flew 20 minutes ago. So I quickly pulled out my phone and recorded it for 2 minutes and 20 seconds. It came in so fast and then went out slow until it tinkered out. It was rather interesting because I had seen this thing twice. It was low and over a lake. Interesting. Fireworks. Fireworks, if you want to call in some UFOs, apparently you just got to launch mini rockets and they'll come. The next UFO sighting, this occurred in Marshall, North Carolina. This happened January 1st, 2018. All right, we got something current. In brief, the witness states, I was looking out of my window because I was bored and noticed out of the corner of my eye a hovering orb. Bored orb. It rhymed. I was hanging out in my room, bored, and looked out of my window for a short while and noticed out of the corner of my eye a black, dark gray orb hovering above the field next to my house. I walked around my room with my hands on my head, thinking about what's going on and thinking, what should I do next? I got a sudden, very tingly feeling all throughout my body, mainly in my head, and ran to my window to see if it was still there. Unfortunately, it was not. But the tingly feeling inside of my body felt like they were trying to say goodbye. I was not harmed in any way, shape, or form, but I did actually feel very happy, as if I were having an adrenaline rush for about 10 minutes after the incident. Sounds like they were prepping them for a little visit there, too. All right, the next UFO sighting. This happened in Bell Gardens, California on January 1st, 2018. Hovering orb, jagged movement, disappeared into the sky, reduced in size, then poof! In more detail, a witness states, not a whole lot more detail. It was just minutes after the New Year. Went to my sis' house next door to give her a hug. Looking at fireworks when I noticed a red orb hovered, then jagged. It flew weirdly across the sky in slow motion. Then it decreased in size from a small red orb to a small red star to nothing. Fascinating stuff. Now, to dab into some mystery science. This article is entitled No Alien Megastructure for Tabby Star. Like a tabby cat? I don't know. This star's odd sporadic dimmings and brightenings caused speculation about vast structures built by alien civilizations. But a crowd-funded observing campaign led a different conclusion. A few months ago, a team of astronomers using space-based observations said the weird and dramatic dips in brightness in the otherwise ordinary star KIC 8462852, aka Tabby star, were probably caused by dust. Oh boy. This star is located some 1,000 light years away. It caused an uproar in the fall of 2015 when astronomers first announced its strange up and down light pattern and began speculating about a possible Dyson sphere or megastructure around the star, built by an advanced civilization with the goal of large-scale energy harvesting. Today, January 3rd, 2018, aided more than 1,700 people who donated over $100,000 through a Kickstarter campaign. Wow. A team of more than 200 researchers using ground-based observations announced that they agree. Yes, they said, the strange dimmings and brightenings of Tabby's star are due to dust, not aliens. Crap. Astronomer Tabitha Boyjan, formerly at Yale and now at Louisiana State University, is the person for whom Tabby star is named. Wow, that's cool. What a Heidi star. She also led the crowd-funded study, which published in the peer-reviewed Astrophysical Journal Letters. Jason Wright at Penn State University is a co-author on the study. He said, we were hoping that once we finally caught a dip happening in real time, we could see if the dips were the same depth at all wavelengths. If they were nearly the same, this would suggest that the cause was something opaque, like an orbiting disk, planet, or star, or even large structures in space. Instead, the team found that the star got much dimmer at some wavelengths than at others, suggesting dust as the most likely explanation. The scientists closely observed the star via the global network of Las Cumbres Observatory from March 2016 to December 2017. Beginning in May 2017, there were 4 distinct episodes when the star's light dipped. They wrote, they're almost certainly caused by something ordinary, at least on a cosmic scale, and yet that makes them more interesting, not less. But most of all, they're mysterious. It makes them more interesting to professional astronomers, probably. But to the rest of us, dust just can't match an alien megastructure for glamour. Yet, as speculation about Tabby's star and an alien megastructure had its day, Tabitha Boyjan herself performed a service of astronomy, and for those of us who love it. Her TED Talk titled The Most Mysterious Star in the Universe drew many into astronomy's wonderful perplexities, and Boyjan ran a heck of a good Kickstarter campaign, for real, giving people a chance to participate in science and keeping those who donated informed every step of the way via frequent updates. She said, by the way, it's exciting. I'm so appreciative of all the people who have contributed to this in the past year. The citizen scientists and professional astronomers. It's quite humbling to have all of these people contributing in various ways to help figure it out, and we're appreciative of you, Tabby. Yes, you did pretty darn good. Thanks for a great story and for letting the rest of us come along for the ride. To read more about Tabby Star, just look for Jason Wright blogs. Wow, that's pretty cool, but in all honesty, if she found alien megastructures, who's going to let her announce that and release it. Raise a hand. Just go ahead. Raise a hand. Nobody's letting her out the door with that. Are you kidding me? Come on. The Pentagon just gave us leftover scraps. Please. With their little UFO disclosure. Anyways, moving on. Paranormal points we're moving on to. Ringing in 2018 with 85 new species. Not quite paranormal, but gosh darn it, we haven't discovered everything on this planet. I bet there's some alien megastructures we haven't found out there. If we can't look under our own feet. God. All right, here we go. From sea slugs to sharks to flowering plants, spanning 5 continents and 3 oceans, these new discoveries add to Earth's tree of life. In 2017, researchers at the California Academy of Sciences, along with several dozen international collaborators, added 85 new plants and animal species to Earth's tree of life, including 16 flowering plants, 3 scorpions, 10 sharks. Who missed the sharks? Who missed that? 22 fish, a lizard, an elephant shrew, and a slew of species with unique names, like a butterfly fish named after Donald Rumsfeld and a bat-winged sea slug named after Dumbo the flying elephant. Okay, I've heard it all. I wonder what the Donald is going to have named after him. The scientists made their discoveries in 5 continents and 3 oceans. Well, okay, Shannon Bennett, chief of science at the California Academy of Sciences, said in a statement, "Despite tireless efforts to explore from the far-flung corners of the globe to our backyard crannies, scientists estimate that more than 90% of species have yet to be discovered." Say what again? Come on now. With many going extinct before we even know they exist. That's not a shocker. We are not only losing members of the Tree of Life, we are also forfeiting potential breakthroughs in medicine, agricultural pollinators, water purifiers, and many other critical components of a healthy planet. Here are a few highlights from the 85 new species described by the Academy in 2017. 7 new species of ants joined the Tree of Life in their march toward global domination, which I'm sure will happen anytime. Ants rival humans, having colonized almost every landmass on Earth. I bet they're not in the Antarctic, are they? One new species collected in Taiwan was described from the, oh, come on, this name, Stigomonnopomama, genus of Dracula ants, infamous for drinking the blood of their larvae. Oh, they're eating their babies? Okay, a newly described species of brown and white charismatic butterfly fish made a fantastic 7,000-mile journey before surprising scientists with its own unknown status. Live specimens collected from 360 feet beneath the ocean surface in the Philippines' Verde Island Passage escaped special notice until a single black fin spine tipped off aquarium biologists back in San Francisco. "We named this reef fish Roa rumsfeldi because, as Donald Rumsfeld once said, some things are truly unknown unknowns." Okay, well, says Louise Rocha, a California Academy of Sciences curator of ethology. I don't even know. Roa rumsfeldi joins 20 other new fish, including a catfish from China and 20 new reef fish. Scientists elevated a subspecies of elephant shrew known as, oh boy, Ranchianchin stulamani, back to its original full species status. These small mammals are more closely related to elephants, sea crows, and aardvarks than is the true shrews. Every spring, plants in the princess flower family color the rocky plateaus in southeastern Brazil with flowers ranging from shades of purple, magenta, and pink to white, yellow, orange. Lavracea Cantoritensis, I don't know, one of the several new species described in 2017. Why can't they just name a flower George or something? I mean, come on. They say it's critically endangered, with fewer than a dozen populations growing on a single mountaintop in Brazil's Sierra de Cantastra National Park. Their only known habitat on Earth. Of 13 new species of sea slugs, 8 were from the Philippines and are members of the batwing family. Sea slugs? Unlike most sea slugs, they are capable of swimming, using tiny wings that they flap to move through the water. This species was named, oh, come on. Oh, Siphontemteron Dumbo. I got Dumbo. Given its resemblance to the famed flying elephant. That's hilarious. 3 new species join the club-tailed scorpions, a painstaking revision of a large group of neotropical club-tailed scorpions led to 3 new descriptions of colorful species and 2 new groups. Hailing from the tropical regions of North, Central, and South America, they could keep them. Ugh. One wild thing about this group is that many species have the unique ability to make sounds by rubbing a specialized comb-like structure against their sandpaper-like abdomen, said California Academy of Sciences arachnology curator Dr. Lauren Esposito. She said the warning is audible to the human ear, sounding like a hiss or a maraca shaking, and is likely a loud way to tell predators to back off. Oh, but you're telling me this one doesn't have it. Great, great. All right. Moving on with paranormal points. Whew, some spooky stories for you. How about that? True ones. The Roland Doe Exorcism. All right, this author says, okay, The Exorcist is a movie I've seen once and will never see again because it's scary. I have to say, that is the scariest movie I've ever seen myself, personally. All right, they continue. My dad's sister found it so frightening when she saw it in 1973 that she had to move back in with my grandparents, or so I'm told, since I wasn't born yet. The reason this movie is so scary is that it's based on a true story. Well, yeah, I know that. According to Mental Floss, a Washington Post article from 1949 with the headline, Priest Frees Mount Rainier Boy Reported Held in Devil's Grip, reported Jesuit priest William S. Bowden. Is that Bowdern? Edward Hughes, Raymond J. Bishop, and Walter H. Halloran participating in the rite of exorcism on a boy with the pseudonym Roland Doe in Maryland. According to the priest, they allegedly experienced the boy speaking in tongues, the bed shaking and hovering, and objects flying around during the ordeal. Mental Floss reported. The exorcism was one of the 3 official Catholic Church sanctioned exorcisms in the United States at the time. Only 3. I'm sure there were more needed, but nobody wanted to go out. The director of The Exorcist, William Friedkin, told the Time Out that the coverage of the Roland Doe exorcism by the Washington Post lent the story some credibility. Quoted, maybe one day they'll discover the cause of what happened to that young man back then. It was only curable by an exorcism. His family weren't even Catholics. They were Lutheran, he told the Time Out. So what? What does that mean? And continue to quote, they started with doctors and then psychiatrists and then psychologists, and then they went to their minister who couldn't help them. And they wound up with a Catholic church. The Washington Post article says that the boy was possessed and exorcised. That's pretty out on a limb for a national newspaper to put on its front page. I don't think you'd see that too often nowadays. Oh, I think it's happening. Possibly in a Murdoch paper, but you're not going to see that on the front page of an intelligent newspaper unless there's something there. Oh, there was something there. This next story, The Mothman. The 2002 film The Mothman Prophecies depicts characters seeing a giant moth-like creature appear before catastrophic events like it's happening right now here in Chicago. There's a Batman being seen. I am not kidding. Look it up. While this might seem like an episode of The X-Files, this story is actually based on real occurrences in the small, tight-knit community of Point Pleasant, West Virginia during 1966 and 1967, according to the Mothman documentary. Dozens of townspeople claim to have seen the Mothman, described as a 7-foot tall, bird-like creature. About a year after the Mothman first began appearing, a steel bridge connecting West Virginia and Ohio mysteriously collapsed during rush hour, killing 46 people. Survivors reported seeing the Mothman just before the collapse, and after the tragedy, the sightings of the Mothman stopped. While some people think seeing Mothman right before the collapse was an indication that the mythic creature was responsible, he shook it loose, I'm sure. Others believe the appearances of the Mothman during the year prior to the collapse was actually a warning. I wonder what he's up to here in Chicago. Wreaking havoc. Probably something going to happen. I think we should leave today with an inspiring paranormal story. This one is entitled My Angel. The author writes, I was 5 years old when I encountered an altar church boy about 10 or 11. I entered my bedroom in broad daylight and he emerged from the wall, and levitated across the room, then disappeared. The loose door of a heavy armoire fell to the floor and missed me because when I saw him, I just stayed at the door speechless. My mom heard the noise and came running. I was accused of touching the door when I was not told to because of the loose hinges. They did not believe me, and I never repeated this story to anyone. Well, why not? I just told everybody. All right, this next one is called Angels Leave Feathers for Me. By the way, the altar boy probably shoved it. I'm just saying. Angels in my life, simply divine. Ever since I invited my angels into my daily life, it has changed for the better. I know with the angels' guidance, I can make the best decisions for my future. Often the signs I receive are feathers. They come in all shapes and sizes, and in the craziest places. You know, I've actually heard of that phenomena, feathers being left. Fascinating. Well, thank you once again for listening to UFO Headline News with me, Heidi Hollis. Be sure to check out UFOHeadlineNews.com every single day. And be sure to tune in to my other weekly show, The Outlander, every Friday at 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern. And I welcome you guys. If you have experienced something, anything out of the ordinary, I don't care if it was just a Bigfoot or UFO, you can write me through my main website, HeidiHollis.com, or go to dustoutlander@gmail.com and just write me that way. Remember always to keep an open mind so